Hello to my new subscribers, it's Lindenherz. And one reason I'm saying hello is because the last 2-3 days or something were like crazy, and I got, I think, maybe more than 100 new subscribers. And the reason for that was Molly Roberts. Yeah, a couple of days ago, an image popped up in my newsfeed, not newsfeed, YouTube feed, and it was an image and a video by Molly Roberts, and in that thumbnail she was holding one of my labyrinth she was purchasing, and I'm selling in my Etsy shop, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm fainting, I'm passing out. And then I watched her video, and she gave she gave a shout out to my channel, and her words were so flattering. And I was really, that early morning, it was really very early in the morning, I was watching that video, and I was like crying and laughing, crying and laughing, crying and laughing, and it was really crazy. And yeah, it was really wonderful. And so I welcome you all new subscribers, and also those of you who subscribed within the last months, although there weren't any new content on my channel. I hope to change that, not only with Vlogmas this year, but also next year with some more other videos. Not always tarot related, but of course also tarot related. Of course, spiritual stuff, and about my earth-based spirituality, what's my path, and how I'm approaching it. I hope to do more videos on that. And yeah, but another wonderful and amazing, crazy thing happened yesterday. Something I haven't shared with you in my other videos, because I wanted to wait until this something made it to me. And yesterday it was that day, or evening I should say, because the postman was ringing late in the evening. Not the usual postman, not DHL we usually have, but one of the other postal services, and those poor guys have to work until very late hours. Still, I was beyond happy to get what I got. And it's yeah, I know you will think, well, the guy and Terry, you have that deck 2 times. Why? But that's the Llewellyn edition. Yes. And you won't believe how less I paid for that deck. So this was an auction on eBay. However, that I got aware of a fellow German Instagrammer who direct messaged me on Instagram during my honeymoon, actually. And when she told me that this deck is there, yeah, I should say the stress really began. Not necessarily the best thing to have during your honeymoon, but this was in the back of my mind on and off, and I knew that this auction was running around a week, so I would be at home when this auction would be finished. And yeah, then I thought, okay, well, I'm not sure, should I do it? The thing was that this was on not a usual auction. You could buy directly for around, try to remember, $100 or something. And you was also an option for bidding, and the start bid was $40 or so. And to be honest, for quite some days I thought, okay, I'm not sure if I'm good with bidding, and this stressing me out. I will pay $100 or something. So $100, and shipping was included and so on. No, not included, but add to that, but I would have to pay 100 euros when you change the currency to that, to euro. And I thought, okay, maybe I should pay 100. It's not still very cheap, and back and forth. And when we arrived back from our holiday, from our honeymoon, I should say, the very next morning when my husband had to go back to work and I was up, I looked at the item here on eBay, and there was one bid, and I was, oh, there goes my option for buying it directly. And then already in the honeymoon, I really fired questions off to my husband because he's a bit more proficient at doing eBay auctions and bidding and so on. So I fired him questions. When's the right time to bid? Should I do it now? Should I put my highest bid? Wow, blah, blah, blah. I'm quite sure he was quite, oh my gosh. And for a tarot deck. And for a tarot deck, you even have twice. Well, but he was patient. He answered my questions. And really, the last couple of 3 days that this auction was running, I was every day, every hour, I was checking that item and checking out. And there was still only that one bid. And after a while, I found out that this bidder, how you call that, person who placed the bid, had only bid $40, so the starting bid. And I thought, okay, maybe I will have a chance. And really, my husband said, when you want to make sure that you get it, you have to wait until the last minute. And then I thought, okay, I will give it a go. I will do it. And it was the most nerve-wracking thing I've ever done. The most nerve-wracking thing. So my heart was pounding like crazy, and my blood pressure was whoop. And I thought, oh my gosh. And I really checked and checked. The last hour I checked, really, I was constantly in front of the computer and checked and checked and checked, and no one was bidding. And then really, I waited until the last fucking minute, until the last fucking minute I waited. And I placed my highest bid. Then I waited, and the last seconds were like forever. I was waiting like forever, and then it said, congratulations, you got it. And I fucking got it. And yeah, I was happy dancing through my apartment here. And now I have it in this gorgeous edition and in this backing, with this backing here, because I know I have that deck 2 other times. So I have it in the Schiffer edition, which I started only to like after I trimmed the blue borders off, because before that it was just and too big and so on. And then I got the French edition, a French-Canadian edition, I should say. And the cardstock is quite sturdy, so I guess I'm not quite sure. The cardstock, I would say it starts with it, then it not improves, but the cardstock gets more solid with the French-Canadian edition, and then the Schiffer edition is maybe the thickest cardstock. But I was quite happy with the French-Canadian edition. It was not so saturated than the Schiffer edition, which is, some images on the Schiffer edition, are quite saturated, oversaturated to my taste. And so, yeah, I was quite happy with that, only to find that they changed the backing. I guess I will switch on light so you can see more, because the light is fading away fastly. A bit better, I would say. So the thing was with the French-Canadian edition that they changed the backing. I'm not sure if this comes across, and maybe some of you might have seen my comparison video of the Schiffer one and this version of the Guardian Tarot. And they changed it to this kind of greenish backing with some swirls, and there are also leaves on it and some snowflakes and so on. Yeah, it's not ugly, I have to say, but why changing the backing? And the same was with the packaging. They had some kind of a strange photo manipulated image of a lady wearing or having a mask in her hand, and it had nothing to do with the art of Joanna Paul Colbert, and I wasn't able to get why they did it. And I even asked Joanna if she was aware, or if she knew why they did it, and she said, no idea. not the slightest idea why they changed it. So strange thing, but that was the thing that always I love the original backing. I have to say, I love the original backing. This blessing wreath she was she created for the deck, which is containing of sage, of cedar, and of lavender. I'm not quite sure, is it sage, cedar, and lavender, or is there also and sweetgrass? Now I know it's sweetgrass. So these 4 blessing herbs are in that blessing wreath she drew for that deck, and I was always in love with that. And then I thought, okay, maybe Schiffer and so on, and I was eagerly awaiting that deck. I try to get it up. I have some kind of some light pouch for that deck. And then Schiffer came with their edition, and well, you see, they put on this thin extra border around it. And then they even couldn't manage to center the image. Maybe it wasn't possible, I'm not quite sure, but I try to make it look same size. They had they quite often have a problem with centering images, and the blue borders were not always right, and the cards were like large, like really large, and I was no. And then I only used the green Gaian tarot for quite a while. And then I saw images of the bigger one trimmed, and I thought, okay, maybe I should do it. And then I did it, and it was a pain in the ass. Let me tell you that trimming that deck was a pain in the ass. I guess I did it with a scissor, because I have cutting machines, 2 cutting machines, but sometimes they mess up a little. And because of this extra thin line here, I was a bit concerned that there could be some problems with. And at first I thought I will trim that extra thin line off, but I would have lost too much of the image sometimes, because some of the part of the image are popping out of the frame, so to speak, and I would have lost too much. So I said, anyway, it's okay that way. And the thing that happened when I did trimming that, you see, I leave that kind of this kind of corners like the thin line is looking, because I wasn't able to find my rounder cutter. But in the end, I liked that very much. It had a certain style, and I was finally able to use it. But still, it is a large deck, and like I said, some of the cards are too saturated for my taste. And I always had a look at this beauty here, especially when I saw people posting their Llewellyn editions, and I thought, why, Llewellyn, why did you leave that deck behind? It is a great deck, and I know it doesn't always get not the love. It does get the love it deserves, but it's not not that openly popular deck, like for instance the Wild Unknown or something like that. I know not everyone is okay with this kind of photorealistic style of the images, but I'm totally fine with it now. I know I had problems with when I first saw images like this on Foolstock, for the Foolstock app. I was like, I'm not sure. And then Elise came with her review of the Llewellyn edition Gaian Tarot, Louise from Wild Moon Woman, or is it Wild Moon Tarot now? I'm not quite sure. She has changed it. But Elise, you are responsible for some of my purchases, I have to say, because your reviews are so fucking in depth, and always change my mind when I'm not quite sure about one deck or something. So this was the thing that changed my mind when I watched her Gaia Tarot review. And the thing that made me more fall in love with that deck was actually the book. I have to say the book was a winner, because within the book you have for each of the major arcana cards, you have these kind of prompts and questions, and you have affirmations and something like that. And I was like, wow. And I knew back then when I saw that review, I knew, okay, the Shiver edition will take some time until it's coming out, at least a half a year or something. But then I bought the app and I started to read. I read the book that is also part of the app, and I was blown away by everything. So basically, and this started my love affair with Joanna Paul Colbert. This sounds really awkward, but with her teachings, with her blog, and also with her workshops. So last year I was part of her seasonal workshops, almost complete the whole year through. So her 31 or 30 days of like Bridget, or of not of Spring, of Ostara or something, and Beltane, and she did these courses with a Facebook group and so on. You get daily prompts and also suggestions how to make art that is related to the prompt. And it was a great exchange. I know she is not doing this anymore, but she will soon offer her 30-day courses as a bundle that you can get. And she will also offer a Facebook group where you can be all year round. But I'm not quite sure if it is if there are any new people who will purchase this course now will be in it. She said maybe this will be only for the people who already purchased the 30-day courses. But anyway, this is a great deck and I so love it. It is simply my soul deck, a deck that I can't live without. And I'm happy that I got it. And what was also part of that was this pouch. Look at that. With these leaves. It really looks a bit like the leaves on the back from the sage, and it's really beautiful. I guess I will have to sew it again because it's a bit lazy in terms of sewing. Here it's coming off and so on, so I guess I will redo that, but I guess this will be the pouch for the green edition, cause I'm planning something. Not I'm planning, but there will be a new home for this beauty, I guess, somewhere around early next year, because I've not necessarily that I've ordered something, but I commissioned a pouch for that one, a special one by a special soul here also on YouTube, and I guess I will reveal when it's when this pouch will arrive, and I will reveal it on my social media and of course here too. But this is a great thing. So the great thing to have, and I'm so beyond glad that I have it now. So, but enough of this Gaia Tarot Rumble. I'm thinking of what we could do today. So I hope this slide is still a bit okay there. I thought of sharing a bit more in depth with you my Seaside altar that I have created, that I shared with you in my, not necessarily in the first Vlogmas video, but in the Blessed Yuletide video I have done at the beginning of December. And I got a question about getting more information about the stones I'm having there that I've collected. And I thought, okay, I will try and see how great the light is there. And so I would say, come over. Yeah, I had to adjust a little so you'll be able to see anything at all. And I tried to adjust even more because it's simply a little bit, here, hope you see a little bit more now. I have to, yeah, I have to use every possible light I'm getting at the moment, because, yeah, I said before I have some lighting issues here, and I will maybe come back to that at one point, and we'll see how to resolve that. But for now, I guess it will be all right. To share with you a bit more about the stones I'm having here on my altar. So you can see there are certain crystals also there. This one is my apatite. If you'll be able to catch his impression at all. It's not so easy with the slide on, so I will try to bring a bit extra. Here you can see now. It's a gorgeous one. And I searched for a while for apatite, and then I finally found one. There's also this gorgeous piece of aquamarine that I'm having. Yeah, of course, you can see now the candle is now, is used a lot. So since the last video, it burned a bit more down. And it's still, I'm so in love with this candle by Faye Solanum. Hi Faye. Yeah, we did an exchange. So she got some witchy prayer beads from myself, and I got this custom-made ocean, Mama Ocean candle that she created with incense and so on. And I'm really happy with that. And yeah, this whole space here is, is keeping me really literally sane at the moment, because I still have Meerweh, so I still miss the sea. And this is a place to calm down and remember my time at the sea. There are collectibles here that I got from the sea. There are also collectibles that I got over the last month or so, where I knew at one point I will make an altar for, a seaside altar for the sea, and will create that. And so this came all together. But in the video, where I introduced you to that altar a couple of days ago, I got a question to share a bit more about the stones, because I mentioned that they were quite special to me, and that I've collected them on my honeymoon, on where we were on the North Sea island of Amrum. So you could say Amrum. I'm not quite sure how this sounds in English. Amrum? I'm not sure. The people on Amrum, themselves would call them their island. I try to remember Omrang, because that's the language they are speaking there. That's the North Frisian dialect, which is called Ömrang. It's quite interesting and fascinating to hear that, and to we also have a little dictionary that is also comparing this language also to English origins. So there are quite similarities in there, the North Frisian languages and English language. So quite interesting. Anyway, so I collected these at a special place. And I will put in some images so you can get in the feeling for this place. It's, you could say, it's some kind of sanctuary between the dunes, where a lot of, between some of the dunes there are heath is there growing, and some very twisted birches and so on. And there is also a reconstruction of an Iron Age house that they did a couple of years ago there. And it's a very, very special house, and best thing is to share it with you here. So this house is or was recreated on a place, or in a space where they found evidence that there were settlement before. And this was in a time, I guess pre-Roman or the early Romans in that time period, and it was during that time where this island wasn't an island but part of the mainland, and people were settling there and living from mostly from the sea. And yeah, this was a special place to visit last year, but this year we found a spot where I first thought that there was some other kind of findings or some archaeological things that they found there, because in the distance we were able, in a valley between two dunes, we were able to visit to witness a stone circle. And I thought first, okay, is this an ancient place? But then we came nearer and we found this. So this place, you could easily say was at least partly constructed by modern people. And we it was powerful, and I got the feeling back then that the center stone, the centerpiece, was maybe standing there before. So the way it comes out of the ground was quite it looked like it belonged there before. So it was amazing to behold this wonderful space, wonderful place they created, certainly powerful, with quite a lot of huge stones. And you see in the image that these stones are also kind of pinkish, like these here are also. And I've added some extra stones that were lying around, and then I chose stones from that area, not from the circle itself. But there was an area and there were a lot of stones there, and I chose 4 of them to come with me. And for that, as an act of reciprocity, I left something from me. So I left a bit of my hair there, and also all of the findings I found on that day. So I thought, okay, this is something special and I have to offer a bit more. So I will left these things here. And I'm thinking about what kind of offerings I can leave there. Some people leave tobacco and so on and so forth. But I have to find things that are natural, but that are not doing any damage to that area. So finding, when you're considering placing seeds there, you have to see, is it a native plant? Isn't this doing any harm or something? You have to be aware of that. So something like that, but you can also leave a bit of your hair there. I would think about other ways of giving an offering or something. Maybe a bit of water. This is something you could do. So something that is not necessarily doing any harm to the environment. So as this act of reciprocity, I've left a bit of my hair there, and took these 4 stones with me. So I will share with you these stones here. So even in this fading light, or in this bad light, you can see they're kind of pinkish here. And they feel amazing. They feel, they're quite heavy, and they have something organic about them. And I was drawn to them. Some same kind of stone. I still don't know what kind of stone this is. This is also one of these. I try to make a bit more light here. So, but still it doesn't want to focus here. So this is a bit similar to that. A bit more darker here, and so on. It has amazing energies. And there is also whoops, my shell chain is falling down. this here, which is what we call, I think it looks a bit like granite, but I'm not quite sure. I'm not sure how it is called in English. Normally I know these kind of stones as also more grayish. I'm not sure if this comes across in the video, but it's also a bit pinkish. So it has a little bit, all the stones have a little bit pink to them. Also this beauty here. This is also a wonderful one. So with these shadows of pink and gray. And this is really a stone that, yeah, that you could heat up. So I put them on a heater and found out that they keep the heat quite long, and you can put them on, maybe when you have some issues with your belly or something, you could put them on your belly. It's really getting really warm, whereas the other ones staying quite cool. This one is a bit better, but this one's getting really warm. So some of these beauties here, and I've also got, of course, I've collected seashells, not so much like last year, but a little bit. And I love these here because they look like wings or something. So I really thought maybe doing a sculpture and adding these as some kind of a sea angel or something. I'm not quite sure, maybe not. But I really love the pattern and the structure. Oh, there's my little dog coughing in the background. This is also something I got, and it's not a real one. It's not a real seahorse, but it's I got it in that gift shop there on the island last year actually, and never knew where to put it. And now I have the Seaside altar, and it can go there. I've also added some stones here. So this one is black agate, and this one is onyx. I'm not quite sure. I guess it's onyx. Sometimes I'm mixing them up, onyx and obsidian. Only by a closer look you can get an impression which one is which. But yeah, this is also a stone from the island. So some of them from the land, some of them out of the water actually, or washed up on the shores. And this is some kind of flint. So some kind of firestone. And these kind of stones where they also cut tools from during the Stone Age and so on and so forth. And it was washed out by the sea, and it feels really powerful and amazing. You can get them also in quite rough versions, so like this heavy guy here. So this is actually really looking like a blade, and try to focus. Look at that. It's really getting harder to focus with this bad light, but it's really sharp here, and or here at the top. And I'm quite sure you could create even more better things when you knock off certain parts of the stone to make it sharper. So yeah. And I also have some shells here on this altar space that are not from the North Sea, especially these in the background, where you can see this kind of cowrie shells that are certainly not from there. But we got it in an extra present for our wedding. There were quite some cowrie shells in there, and I was so happy. And now they are on my altar space. But these here got from these shells I got from dear Ruth from Rhinefire Dreaming, and they are quite gorgeous, and they're fitting perfectly together, and they are this kind of lilac tone, this purple tone inside. Ah, the sea. Ah. And this is also one of them. And I got them not last year, 2 years ago actually, together with my Wild Unknown. Now I know it. So these are also wonderful. Look at that. I'm simply, yeah. You know, in the works of Tolkien, especially in The Lord of the Rings, we have Legolas, and we have this thing going on there when elves see the sea or the ocean for the first time. They got some kind of what I would call merve. So this yearning for the sea, to be on the sea or something. And I can totally understand them. And yeah, I still have that feeling with me. And yeah, this place is a place that, yeah, that I'm thriving on. And I'm not sure if I said that before, but really it keeps me sane at the moment. And here, what I found, this is also, whoops, one of my special. I have to find that this nut is not coming off here. This clamp, actually, from a crab. Look at that. And I've heard that people were saying, oh, beware, sometimes there's some kind of flesh or something from the crab inside and it could rot and stink or something. But it smells okay. There's no rotting smell on this one. And I found it perfect because I'm a Cancer, or crab, basically, and it was just for me. What I'm also having here is, stone, please be there. These kind of driftwood I found last year. This year I found not so good things there, but this one was one piece, and I also have another, and then the other one, which is there, I would put it here, is one I'm considering doing a pendant of, but still not sure what I'm putting on. I won't wood burn it, I guess, but I will paint it or something. Not sure what I will do with it, but I think this would be some kind of perfect thing to do, to wear around your neck. And this one, not from the sea, but it was the stone I found the day we returned, and I had to do had to go grocery store shopping and something, and when on my way home I found this by the wayside, and I thought, oh my gosh, look at the patterns, this is amazing. And I fetched it, so put something of my home into the Seaside altar space, was perfect for that. Yeah, and of course here my beads. So this is not necessarily prayer bead. I would call them devotional beads, so my devotional seaside beads. These are, and also with this gorgeous, lovely mermaid on it. Quite a thing for mermaids lately. That has mostly to do with the novel and the stories that are telling from the church about the Church of the Old Mermaids. The stories by Kim, and I don't know how to pronounce her name, Antio or Antio. I'm not quite sure, but I'm part of her the Old Mermaids Mystery School next year. This is a year and a day course, and that will offer wisdom of the old mermaids, and really look that up. This is a great and amazing story, and about the mermaid, the wild sea woman, you could say, that each woman is carrying within herself. And this is something that found me where I was most in need of this kind of sea wisdom, and I really did it in that kind of mood to dedicate this to the old this old mermaid kind of story. This was really and is still a story that I found so nourishing, and I'm really looking forward to the the monthly emails with suggestions, with recipes, also with creative projects and so on. And I'm really looking forward to that. I really think this is a perfect program for me to keep my balance, so to speak. So this is also this Seaside altar. Like I said, this is something that keeps me sane at the moment. Although I'm looking quite happy and content in the videos, this December finds me very, with mixed emotions and so on. Like I said in other videos, my husband came back with a lot of energy, and I still struggle to find a rhythm back here on the mainland. And my heart, a piece of my heart still dwells on that island. And which I haven't showed you here in the background here, which is the light tower of that island, the light tower of Amrum. So the Amrumer Leuchtturm, and how high it is, 41 meters, and so on. How many steps there are, 172 and so on. So and this is the logo of this North Sea island with this light tower. And I really kept my eye when we went back onto the ferry. I kept my eye on the island and on the light tower until the very last minute. And oh my, I was so teary. I was so teary. And yeah. And back home, yeah, last year I had quite some creative energy. This year, kind of still, I think this year there is some more resistance within myself. I'm holding myself back. I feel that. And I feel that I'm needing more time for myself. And at the moment, this December is quite super busy. You could say, why are you doing videos then? But these videos also are a part of what keeps my mood high, so to speak. The exchange with you all is most definitely a really wonderful thing to yeah, keep my vibrations high and not fall into the deepest yeah, hole, you could say, of depressive thoughts, so to speak. And I guess in one of my next videos I will share with you one book that I'm reading at the moment that is, I'm quite sure, would be also quite nourishing for other souls out there who are struggling during that time, or who in general struggle during a course of the year or course of a year. And I think this is a perfect, it's a seasonal book, and it's also, yeah, it's seasonal. It feels really like following the wheel of the year and honoring also these kind of cycle changes or cycles that you have within yourself or you experience within your own life. And I think it could be very helpful for others to get to know a bit more about that book as well. So I will leave it like that, or should I share with you? No, one thing I want to share with you. And this is this bottle here that I created a special spray that I used also on my, when I was at the North Sea, and it contains some drops of this gorgeous, gorgeous oil by Daniela from My Tarot 3. She created this Triple Goddess oil during our Triple Goddess challenge, and it was really, it's a powerful one to anoint yourself, anoint candles and so on, do magical workings, and there's also snakeskin as you read it. It's naturally harvested, so skinned, not skinned, but shed skin. So now we have it. Shed skin from a friend of mine has a couple of corn snakes, and she offered me some snakeskin, and we put it in there. And yeah, lavender and frankincense you can see, and peppermint oil. It's quite a potent mix, and some crystals are also in. And I used it for this Seaside spray, the Sea Goddess devotional spray. I used special water, so moon water actually, not one I made myself, but it's this water is coming from a well, which yeah, is called Moon Well actually, some Mondquelle we would say, and it's by a company who sells these waters as drinking water, and there are two varieties of it. So one is just simple water from that moon well, and the other one is moon well water, yeah, filled by the full moon. So full moon filling, you could say. And I used yet now simple full moon water from them, and I added special salt. Sea salt, not ordinary sea salt, but sea salt that came from the island we were on. So there is a fisherman who not only is catching fish, but thought, okay, maybe I can create yeah, a sea salt, and he, while he's fishing, he also yeah, is making sea salt, so to speak. And this is really a sea salt with no chemicals at all in that, so perfect for things like that. Of course, for cooking, or for face masks or something like that. So I'm using that at the moment also for my face, and it's really cleansing. Yeah, so now it's enough. This video will be long enough, but yeah, I thought of sharing this here with you, and happy that you yeah, came here to sit with me here, and we will see us hopefully tomorrow. I'm not quite sure, so I try to make the next video much quicker, and eventually, I'm not quite sure how I will manage it. Eventually I will take you with me on the German Christmas market of our city here, maybe even on the medieval one. We also have a medieval Christmas market here. To give you a little impression about that, I will leave a video or link below in the description box of a visit I made 2 years ago. So 2 years ago I made also Vlogmas, and there I shared with you a little potpourri of Christmas market impressions from the city I'm living in. And I leave you the link, but I will try to make my best and make some videos tomorrow, and try to yeah, try to share it with you. So until then, wish you all the best. Bye bye.